The world's best gather here. XBL baseball starts now.
It's crushed to the moon, and we're tied.
He picks it up on the second, over to first in time for the double play that ends the inning.
That's gone.
Oh my, oh my, oh my.
Trying to repeat.
It's good!
And Homer to the pen! This game is over!
Oh! Crushed! Left field! Off the pole!
Domingo Bell, deep right center field, carrying, and it's gone!
That was hit hard. Left center field, did she do it again? To the wall!
Swung on Bell to the deep left field. Is this baby gone? A grand slam!
Champion! The AAA World Series is over on a live
I can't believe my eyes.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another production here of the Cross-Platform Baseball League. Tonight's one of our biggest and best as we jump into the Season 18 awards, the 18th season, 6 years of XBL action, 6+, wrapping up here tonight with the hardware. And joining me, my booth mates, as always, it's going to be, first and foremost, the man, the habanero himself, Hot Boys Lot. How are you tonight, sir?
Hey, doing good, feeling great, happy to be here. Thanks everybody for showing out. I'm excited for a fun production tonight.
Yeah, very excited to have you here with me. And as well, we've got the AAA aficionado himself. It is the one and only Mystery Man, Mist. Another award show where we get to run through this thing together. How you doing tonight?
I'm really excited. We got brackets, we got awards, we got a few other special things. We got Hall of Fame. I mean, this is really the show. And as we know, the playoffs have already started, so we got to catch up to the playoffs.
Yeah, we've got to catch up to the playoffs. We'll be going over some predictions here tonight, one of the bigger parts of the show. But we've got a ton of other things to go over as far as handing out the hardware and some special Hall of Fame announcements as well. The order, as you see below, we've got the intro, we've got some milestones to go over. Then we'll have our brackets, the awards, Hall of Fame. We will not be going over the hot takes. Most of those have to do with World Series champions, so we're going to hold on those for a bit and see if we can revisit those in some way after the playoffs, and then, of course, our plays of the year. So without further ado, we're going to turn things over into the milestone section, so just bear with me for a moment as I flash you all of the logos here for all of our milestone getters this season, and then hook things up here for my fellows. But yeah, tons of people here. As you can see, all of the logos represented achieved milestones this season. A milestone being, 100 plus home runs, 100 plus wins, 500 hits, 3,000 hits, 1,000 hits. There's a plethora of them here in front of us. So I'm going to begin first with the XBL, where we've got Wishbone, who in double 300s reached 300 career XBL home runs. He's currently sitting at 8th all times with 308. And he's got 300 career XBL walks as well, 331, which is good for 6th all time. Following him is Mama Junjun, who reached his 100 career XBL win. That's a large pinnacle in the XBL to achieve, ending with 113 this season, good for 15th. He's reached now also 1,000 career XBL runs scored, just over the edge with 1,006. 2,000 career XBL hits for Mama are also on the docket, ending the season with 2,254, so he's well on his way to 3,000 hits. Very, very excited for him. We've also got Mush here in his 3rd XBL season, reaching 1,000 career XBL hits. He's ending with 1,314 there. And then following him, on the contrary to 3 seasons, you've got Flash in his 13th. He's got a couple of big ones here with having reached 5,000 career XBL hits. That's in 13 seasons again, and he's got 5,137 for 1st all-time here tonight. So congratulations to the big man Flash. He's also reached 300 career walks in addition to Wishbone. That's 2 players there with big walk milestones this season. And then we've got Flash also taking the crown from Lazy, not entitled yet, but in 250 XBL career wins, ending with 260, which is good for 1st all time. So congratulations again to the big dog, the commissioner, the founder. It is Flash with some big milestones there. And Bennings, in his 4th XBL season, has reached 100 career walks. Always good to have patience. It probably took me about 10 seasons to get 100 career walks. Ted Danson in his 8th XBL season has unassumingly and quietly reached 3,000 career XBL hits, ending with 3,138. He's currently at 6th, and he's also reached 300 career XBL walks this season. Dark Raider the GOAT in his 6th XBL season has reached 1,000 career XBL pitching strikeouts, which is a huge milestone for any pitcher in the XBL, as hits are good, easy to come by, but as we all know, pitching strikeouts can be very difficult. So anyone who hits 1,000 plus career strikeouts has accumulated, quite a few. That's over 6 seasons there for Raider. And Zlot, my man here with us tonight, reached 1,000 XBL hits in his 4th season, good for 1,100 hits, 30th all time. We'll move it down to the AAA now, as I run through this list, again, I'm just running through all of the milestones, and then we'll keep it pushing here through the rest of the show. And we're going through AAA now, where Black Coffee in his 5th XBL AAA season reached 100 career wins, 1,000 career AAA runs scored, 2,000 career AAA hits, and 300 career AAA home runs. He's got the first title there for all of the home runs in the AAA. Congratulations to Black Coffee. I know he's been jostling with Mystery Man for that one for a while now. Burning Ice in his 5th AAA season recorded 1,000 career hits. You'd expect him to be putting up some pitching numbers here, but 1,000 career hits for the man Burning Ice in his 5th season. Time flies when you play all 5 of those seasons in 5 weeks. Elron in his 3rd AAA season reached 1,000 career hits. He's got 1,366. And Eduardo, with the pinnacle of hits here in the AAA, ending with 3,500, reached 3,000 hits very early in the season. He's good for 1st all-time in the AAA. So congratulations to Ed in his 9th season in the AAA for 3,500 hits. Right on the nose. Heisman in 6 seasons has recorded 100 career AAA wins, 2,000 career AAA hits, and 500 career pitching strikeouts. So a lot of big numbers there on the list for Heisman, showing that he's now a longtime veteran in that AAA. And we've got Mystery Man here, who's also reached 100 career AAA wins and 1,000 career AAA runs. You know, he's astute at the plate. He's 4th all-time in runs and 3rd all-time in wins. Fireball Max, also reaching 100 career AAA wins. Lots of players hitting this mark now in the AAA, showing the longevity of the league as well as the longevity of lots of these players. So congratulations to Max. He's good for 5th all-time with 108. Rise and Fall in his 6th, or I don't believe that's correct. He's in his 8th AAA season. He reached 1,000 career pitching strikeouts. Again, big number to reach. And he's got 1,089, which is 3rd all-time. Rick's in 5 seasons following Rise has 100 career AAA wins and 500 strikeouts. Good for 8th and 13th all-time respectively. And then wrapping things up in the AAA is Diesel, who reached 100 career AAA wins and 1,000 career AAA pitching strikeouts. So big marks there for Diesel in his 8th season in the AAA as well. Lots of numbers there in the AAA that just got run through. Congratulations to everybody there in both AAA and the XBL. As we jump over to AA, where the milestones are not quite as high, but they are numerous, as we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players here in front of us, all of which recorded their 500th career AA hit this season. So congratulations to Infinity, Prestone, Bo Dangles, Malik Dragonborn, Kawashi Blue, Spartacus 12675, Joey, and SpongeHog for all reaching 500 career hits in the AA. None of which good for 1st all-time yet, the highest being Joey, who's good for 3rd. This says 3rd, not 3rd. It says 3rd, so I'm going to read it as such, with 660. So congratulations to Joey there for being the highest on that list. And all of our milestones there, our run-through. And I'm going to bring everybody else back into the fold as we are going to take it down now to the surprise Unicorn of the Year. Congratulations to Spliffstar for achieving the first ever honor here, the first ever Unicorn of the season. And if you weren't here with us in the beginning of this thing, this season 18, Uni wanted to signify a player every week who was, the special, unexpected player, sort of a kind of a most improved like player in the midst of each week, each season. And he picked them for the roundups, and he dressed up and did some really great bits respectively for those roundups. And here he's picked Spliffstar. He couldn't be here with us for an outfit, but we put something together here for him. And yeah, congratulations to Spliff. I'm going to pass it over first to Zlot to kind of, talk about what was so special about Spliffstar's season.
Yeah, it was really incredible and a lot of fun to watch the transformation take place for the Matrix. I mean, they were finding themselves at the middle level of the table over the past couple seasons in the AAA. Last season they technically finished 2 games under 500, and now at the end of this season they stand near the top of the table, 29-9, increasing the runs scored per 9. just a lot of fun to watch him. I know he's got a couple streams throughout the season, a couple of highlighted games as well on Match of the Week and the Showdown just the other day that we did. That was a lot of fun. And he's one of the two, small company at the top there, one of two players this season to not be swept. It's him and Coffee that were not swept at all in the regular season. So huge kudos to the Matrix this season.
Misty, got anything on our man Spliff Star as well for this AAA season?
Our man Spliff Star, I love Spliffy. I wasn't surprised by this at all, to be quite frank. I thought he was going to do really well. He was showing some signs of improvement, I think, right around the time the season started. And with his pitching, plus that, he always just needed a little bit of bat. Now he's got a little bit of bat. So, congratulations, Spliff Star. Well earned, sir.
Well earned indeed. Again, this is the first ever Unicorn of the season we've ever handed out here in the XBL, and we hope to hand out many more prestigious awards. Well, this is something I think many of us can look forward to, much like a Long Balla or Von Asen. I think I would love to see a jostling for this next season, and I know Uni would too. I'm not kidding. I'm not being tongue in cheek when I say this at all. I think we can really fire this thing up, and Uni's going to agree with us.
Unicorn's going to be dressing up as Fred Jones next season. You'll see.
Yeah, we'll see a Fred Jones. I'd love to see him in a blonde wig. That would be great. We'll take it on over to a little bit more meat potatoes here, and we'll begin with some bracket predictions before we move into the hardware. And we're going to start with the AA. The AA has already been in progress for a little while now, moving through that round robin group. As you can see on the right, we've got the Lumineers way ahead of Group A, and then still some fighting going on in Group B. So without further ado, I'll pass it back over to Zlat to kind of give us a rundown on what he thinks of this whole setup.
Yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of things to keep our eyes on here in the AA this season. The initial points I wanted to talk about is the activity in Group A. We've seen a bit of a surprise there with City Walk Knights going to 1-2. That means their remaining opponent is Black Sox, and Bo Dangles is really going to need a big win there to have a chance at advancing, because even if he were to win, he would still need the scenario of Liberty losing to the Black Sox, I believe. So, things are interesting, and there's a lot of tension and drama in that group that still needs to be shaken out. Group B has its own drama and tension, but, there's more games to be played, so I don't want to run through every scenario there necessarily, but hope to see those games get completed sometime this week from everybody and really solidify the rest of the bracket here on the left-hand side. I'm really excited for all four top-seeded teams to get their games in, because we've gone through the holidays now. We've seen a lot of rust build up for people, and it's going to come down to who can shake that off the quickest, I think. So if you're not scrimming, you might want to reconsider and kind of hop back in the heat of things, because your playoff series is coming up here just around the corner. A lot of strength from all four guys here. I'm going to skip ahead and just say my prediction for the World Series champion. I am going to go with, sticking true to my hot take at the beginning of the season, not a 1 seed. I am in fact going to be choosing the Pelicans to advance and win the AA World Series this season.
Prestone and the Pelicans. I like to hear that. Prestone had a really powerful start to the season. Mystery Man, what do you got on that?
Yeah, I really like Simon. Simon, I've been scrimming him a lot. He looks really good. Moved up to 88, which is even above AAA. The Enemigos, this guy's really excited about playing this game, and he's a real baseball player in real life. I love the Enemigos. So I actually think the Enemigos and the Jailbirds are going to end up in the finals. The Pels always do kind of tend to migrate toward the top. Too easy, always kind of the hardest on his own hitting, and it is hard to, I think, win it all without hitting. The one fly in the ointment, I think, is the Lumineers, who appear to be moving up extremely fast. Sometimes you'll see these lower ego players that just seem to be advancing quite quickly. So if I was the Jailbirds, I think my biggest concern might be the looms, but I think most likely he faces the enemigos.
Really good
And
predictions there.
I'll take the jails in that one, but it's really tight.
This double A is, as always in the double A, extremely unpredictable, extremely tight. I mean, it's really just a massive dogfight of literally any one of these number of players here in front of us, 13 of them coming out on top. As we saw last season, the potential was there for SpongeBob to take it all. The potential's always there for somebody to come out of the mix. So double A, a beautiful, beautiful league with the sliding egos. And great job by everybody again being so prompt and on top of it. This double A has really come such a long way from being what was cobbled together in the past. And you know, there's just an overall award here, and great participation and just great energy from all of you that really makes this league a lot of fun. So thank you very much, double A players, and we look forward to seeing more from y'all. Let's go check out now the AAA playoff bracket. This one here a little bit more standard, as you've got the 16 teams all running through 1 through 16. And we've got a little bit of stuff already in progress going on, so we'll take it back over to Zlot once again to bring us through the AAA.
Yeah, AAA, always fun. Always just, I don't know, it's like the league I started out in. That's where a lot of the love initially grew for me for the XBL community as a whole. So it's also fun because there's a bit more of a storied past for a lot of these players in the AAA. And I'll just kind of dive right into a lot of these round of 16 matchups. So, we have Coffee and the Aces. That is going to be quite a bop fest. We've seen the amount of home runs that both teams put up throughout the regular season. The pitching has always been a bit of a question, but we know that Coffee's earned the 1 seed as expected. The preseason rankings don't lie. They've played out in a way we all probably kind of thought they would here. So, Coffee definitely has the advantage here to make a deep run and is a probable favorite for winning the whole thing. Moving on, sliding down, to the Mist, my fellow boothmate here, and Fireball Max. We know that series was streamed 2 games worth, so Mist holds a current 2-0 lead, and Mist has looked pretty good this season. Maybe a small half step back from where he was hoping to be, but he can still get hot at the right time. He's got a lot of pop in his bat, and he showed that here in the 2 games the other day. Max, on the other hand, his back is against the wall. Roberto Ramos is trying to claw his team across the finish line. It's been a lot of fun, some pretty tight games, really, the other day, so it's going to be fun to see how that one plays out. Next down the line on the left side, we have Burning Ice and Icy Hot. Solid match there. Icy Hot started to kind of heat up there towards the middle and end of the season, turning heads a little bit with some of those results he earned. So don't count him out by any means, but that being said, Gex are just known for their pitching. They can shut games down. Really good at keeping your base runner stranded, and he's improved his bat a little bit as well this season, on top of his already strong pitching, which improved from the previous season. So he's just a really, really tough cookie to crack. It's going to take a bit of a miracle there for Icy Hot. The Help Deskers and Ricks with Las Cerezas, a very, very solid matchup. Both teams really just play to their strengths really well. We know Ricks has that small ball mentality, and Elron has the long ball, so it's kind of just which game style is going to edge out in that regard. I'll say for the left side, I don't want to go into too many, specifics between the quarterfinals and semifinals, etc. But quickly, I do have Gex and the Help Deskers advancing respectively, and that is the matchup of the entire bracket that I'm really excited to see, just because of how they play to their play styles. I'm excited to see how Gex is pitching and try to shut down the Help Deskers, and see if Help Deskers can, on the flip side, find a way to continue sending runs across the plate, hitting home runs and those deep balls. So definitely a huge matchup to tune into. Ultimately, on the left side, I have the Banjos coming out and just chalking their way through the left side of the bracket. Moving on over to that right side, we have Teflon and his Flower Bombs, who took care of business against Diesel It was a 3-0 series victory for the Flower Bombs, and those were still some close games. We saw in the XBL highlight channel, we saw the pitcher, a relief pitcher, had a walk-off solo shot on a Conseco'd ball in center field. That was insane. A lot of fun, cool moments in that series. Shout out to Diesel for always putting up such a strong fight. His back is often against the wall, and it didn't shake out for him, but there was definitely some light at the end of the tunnel each way. So congrats to him on his season, and congrats to Teflon as well for advancing. Moving on, we have Heisman and his Stars against Rise and the Pirates. That is another spicy matchup. We know those guys can both pitch, and it's going to be really exciting to see who comes out on top there. Both of these players really just were solid throughout the whole season. We saw how much Rise improved from previous seasons to this, so very, very exciting stuff. I kind of have that as a 50-50 in my head. I'm not sure who's going to advance there. I think it'll be close, might even go the distance. Moving downward, we have Matrix and the Greats. Alec had maybe a lower successful season than he maybe had hoped for. I'm not wording that well, but all that to say is glad to see him return, to the community, be playing. It's always great to see those guys make their way back in. They get sucked back into the game. And we talked already about the Matrix, the Unicorn of the Year award winner, the improvements that he's made, the strength that he has in his pitching. He's improved his bats. He's definitely another team that is looking to get some hardware this season. So should be a solid series there. And lastly, the final round of 16 matchup remaining there is the Sirloins and the Massholes. Solid matchup, as Sham has really, really surprised a lot of people after coming up from the AA. He's just really started to put runs together. He's very streaky, but when he is on, he is tough to deal with at the plate. And I'm excited to see how Eddie handles that. Ed also had a successful season, but he's found just a bit of a tricky matchup here. So he's really going to need to be solid, shake off any rust from the holidays, and get his offensive bats going early. That is an upset alert series in my head. So from the right side, overall, I'll skip forward to who I think will make it out, and I'm going to stick with the Matrix. I think they have the tools and skill set to really deal with the teams that might be in their path. Ultimately coming up against Coffee and the Banjos, who I do think will come ahead, and we'll see a Banjos World Series this season.
The Banjos World Series been elusive thus far for our AAA all-time home run leader. And that's some really good input from Zlot there on what is a really crowded and exciting AAA. So I think overall, just really, really, tough to predict, but really, really astute and sound predictions made with a lot of really good stat work that you do each and every time for the league. So we really appreciate that, Mr. Zlot. Now, Mystery Man, you want to take a crack at this thing? What do you think? What do you think of the old AAA bracket? I know you've been stewing up over this for quite a few days now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna lay it down here. I'm gonna focus on the players I really think can advance and do some damage. So here's the situation. The Mist is not the best matchup for the Banjos. Don't really want to see the Mist. So that if that happens, that's gonna be a crazy series. And here's another one that the Gex played. They pitched so well against the Help Deskers in the regular season. It's hard not. I wouldn't put anything past Icy Hot, but let's just assume if the Gex play the Help Deskers in the second round, because we haven't seen a ton from Ricks, I have to think Elron can get by there. I think the Gex can take the Help Deskers out, despite the fact that nobody else wants to see the Help Deskers. And then on the right side, obviously the Flower Bombs are on paper the favorite, but I think there's a couple of OG. I don't think the Stars or the Pirates can really challenge the Flower Bombs, but I do think a couple of OGs over here on the bottom, the Matrix and the Sirloins, And I'm not even sure the sirloins can get past the massholes. That's how good the massholes have been playing. But assuming they do, which I think they will, the flower bombs against either one of Ed or Spliffy is that's not a given at all. You got to put the banjos. I'm going to put the banjos and the flower bombs in the finals with the banjos winning, just because that seems like the situation. But especially on the right side with the Matrix and the sirloins, I'm just saying I'm a little bit uncomfortable with that. But I do think the banjos, despite a little bit of tricky footing getting through there, probably win it all. So banjos over flower bombs.
So we've got the Flower Bombs making the World Series. We've got the Matrix making the World Series on the right side of the bracket from either one of you, but we've got the Banjos on the left side as a consensus prediction here. So pretty exciting stuff. And what is the AAA Gauntlet? As we know, this entire thing's probably going to turn all the way on its head by the time if we revisit this bracket in any amount of time. We'll probably be looking at some sort of crazy World Series where like the 14th seed played the number 3. Or I don't know how it'll work. I'm not looking at either side. Did I get that right? Probably not. Anyway, they're playing each other right now. Regardless of that, we always love the parity and the excitement in the AAA. Everyone here does a really great job every season of getting a lot of games in. If you go to that website, AAA has by far the most amount of games to get done. So I don't give them any slack for 1 or 2 people being behind. I think that's pretty natural when there's a group of 20. However many, and you've got to play 38 games this season. So really great job, high level participation. We want to see more of that, and hopefully it continues next season. These playoffs are continue to be a nice cook session for y'all. I want to see another 10th seed champion, like my hot take said. So I'm looking at you, Rise and Fall.
That's it. Let's do it, Rise.
Let's go. But either way, great job, everybody. We'll move on now to the XBL. And we can kind of go back to back. We'll flip it back to Mystery Man, who's taking a gander at this a bit more filled out bracket as the XBL takes in 14 teams. It just looks a lot more tight here. It's just 2 less teams, really. There's been some action already in addition to those buys. So without further ado.
Yeah, this is a very, very extremely weird season in XBL where there really is no consensus. I don't think there's any consensus that the Astronauts can win it. There's no doubt they were the best team in the regular season. And same with the Holograms. They earned that number 2, but are you going to put them over the Spokes or Flash or Mama June? I don't really know about that. It's kind of tough. And then we know that Mush tends to step up in the playoffs. So, and then Pizza has been playing crazy in a lot of the Moon Kingdom games. Spokes have already moved on. I'll jump to the finals. I'm gonna take Mama June coming out of the left side of the bracket. Gonna be tough to get by the Astronauts if that takes place. I can't see the Unicorns or the Dog Pound, who are both pretty equal. I can't really see them getting past the Astronauts. And I can't maybe Mush could do it, but I'm thinking Mama and the Astronauts, and somehow Mama finally lives up to his talent level and gets to the finals on the left. And then on the right, it's probably gonna be, Flash hasn't had the best season. The talent's there, but it feels like I wouldn't completely eliminate Moon Kingdom, but I do think it's going to be the Spokes and the Holograms. In that scenario, I guess I'm going to take the Holograms because of experience. So in the finals, it's going to be Holograms, Civs. I'm going to take the Civs to win it all.
That's a big shout for our Civs this season, who, Mama's had a really great season on his back. He's got to take it into the playoffs now. But really good shouts here, Mystery Man. I think, this bracket is as wide open as ever. And with another analytical approach to this whole thing, I think I'm going to pass it over to Zlot, who's probably had this thing cooking in his cauldron for a little while as well.
Yeah, I love messing around, fiddling with the numbers, so I got a slightly deeper take just to share information with everybody here tuning in tonight. We'll start by kicking it off here in the top left again with Uni versus M. Bennings. This season, it was a split, although Uni does hold the career head-to-head advantage out of 4 games, 3-1 advantage him. Granted, their matchup this season was from the first week, so it's really hard to try to carry any of that and gauge results for this series. I kind of just expect a lot of late inning drama to decide these games, so I can see it going a 5-game distance here in the first round. And of course, we have to mention Uni's epic comeback against the Astronauts in the regular season. So it took a miracle for him to get that victory, which makes it even more likely that the Astronauts should advance out of the top half. But hey, you never know. Crazier things have happened in baseball, so we'll see. Sliding to that next matchup is, of course, a little biased as I find myself against the Civ. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I will just say Mama has had another great season, especially on the mound, and his offense is as potent as ever, so he's an extremely tough and respectable opponent. I do have to share the disclaimer that I did split the Civ this season, so hey, it's a 5-game series, you never know. We'll see how it plays out. It'll be fun. Next series we have up here is Mush and the Harfang. This is going to be a fun one. I think that Mush really, his playstyle just works really well against someone like Raider, but Raider also can play people so close, and we saw that in this regular season in their first game. It was a score of 3-2 in the Curse's favor, so the low-scoring affair. Second game was more wide open. Mush also happens to hold the career head-to-head advantage by a score of 5-1. So I think Mush, is set up well to advance, but you just can't count someone out like Raider. He always plays tight games. He knows how to get to those late extra innings. That's just what he wants. He wants you to feel nervous and anxious, and one mistake can decide the game often against him. So a tough, respectable opponent on that side as well. We'll flip to the other side of the bracket there with Flash against Ted. They had a bit, I believe, I saw they had some connection issues this season in their game, so they were incredibly high scoring, but I don't know if that's fair to use any of that against, them in an analysis here this evening. So I wanted to point out that Ted does hold a career advantage over, we know both of those guys have been in the league for a long time. Ted actually holds the career advantage in head-to-head by a score of 9-3. And Flash's wins came 1 in Season 11, 2 in Season 16, so Ted's got some kind of thing figured out about Flash. This is going to be an interesting matchup to tune into. I think pitching is really going to be what separates these guys, because we know how good they are with the bat, so it's just going to come down to the pitching. I don't know. I'm not even going to predict who's going to win. I just think that's going to be a fun, close one to watch. Next we have the, Spokesman and Black Roses. They played already. We can see that the names have been crossed out respectively, but we can't not mention Snowbird's rookie season. Kudos to her. Hats off. Just a fun, exciting season. Had some ups, some downs, but you still made the playoffs, so just wanted to do a little mini shout out there for Snow, advancing all the way, as we know, from the AA to AAA, being the World Series winner there last season, and finally now here in the XBL. So a lot of success, and kudos are just well deserved. So congrats. And of course the Spokesmen, we've talked about them a lot this season, a lot of success, so much improvement from season over season. Even, for some people, the favorite to take it all this season. So I'm excited to see how Spaceman can put things together here as we embark on the playoff journey. I'll slide now to our final round of 14 matchup between Pizza and AJ, aka the Moon Kingdom versus the Pistons. The seeding feels a little wonky there. I think Pizza is just so strong. A 6 seed feels not beneath them, but it's just surprising to see such a low seed for them. So AJ's also, you know, his bat can pop off. I think he's still trying to figure some things out on the mound, but we might see, I'm sure we will see a ton of fireworks, but we might see some upset potential depending on how those games go. I mean, if AJ can win the first game or if he can force a game 5, that's just nerve-wracking if you're Pizza. So that'll be a fun, exciting one to watch out for. Overall, I think I have on the left side of the bracket, I'm gonna go with the Astronauts making it. They're gonna take care of business in their first matchup against whoever it is with Uni or M. Bennings, and they're gonna figure things out in a long series with someone in the semis. On the flip side, I expect the Spokesmen to live up to the hype that they've put on this season, and so I'm gonna say it's an Astronaut Spokesman World Series, sticking true yet again in my prediction for the hot take. I'm gonna go with the Spokesman to win it all this season.
No number 1 seed. Vlad staying consistent indeed. And that is a really tight prediction. I mean, it's a gauntlet here in the XBL this season. I know if you saw me moving around the screen, I was making a little bit of predictions of my own with my mouse and playing around in the chat a little bit. But overall, I'm a Ted Stanson Dan Stan, so I think the Dragons are going to win. They're going to sweep everybody. So. Regardless of that, the XBL has been another amazing season. This is the 18th season for the XBL itself. The top tier league is run each and every season, and we thank everyone for their participation there, making this thing tick. It took a little bit. We had to extend it, as we've done many times. We want to tighten that up in the future, but the most important thing is that you all show up and play games, because without that, what else would we be gathered here for? And what would there be an entire Discord server for us to hang out in for if we didn't, you know, rock on these games? So everybody, great season. Here's to another and to another and to, you know, 20's coming up. I want to see 20 plus. Let's get it. You know, we're inching closer. So great job, y'all. And without further ado now, I think we can start out with handing out what we all came here for tonight, which is the hardware. We've got Most Improved, Rookie of the Year, Von Asen, and Longballo, plus special Hall of Fame inductions at the end of the handouts. So we're going to take it over to the Most Improved players. And first and foremost here tonight, we're going to start out in our AA. This player in the AA is somebody that, you know, has played back-to-back seasons with us. Has definitely improved a ton, as we've seen in the win total, as we've seen in all the stats. And, you know, the first award of the night, without further ado, goes to the Pelicans of Louisiana and Prestone, who had a very impressive Most Improved AA season, getting 25 points in the league office vote and 45% of the community vote as well, so nearly half of the community voting for them. And shout outs to our runners up, Infinity AB, aka Too Easy, Malik Dragonborn, and then Joey, Cookie Monster, Kawashi, Simon, and Spartacus all got shout outs as well, receiving probably community votes or some of the league office votes. So big group of there in AA, just like the Milestones getting shout outs, but it's Prestone who walks away with the Most Improved award. Who wants to start this one off?
I think you're muted, Mist, but you got it.
Yeah, I want to talk about Malik Dragonborn. This is a player that I really see coming on. Has some work to do, no doubt, but regardless, this is someone we hardly even touched on here tonight. This is a fast riser in my opinion. As far as the other awards in AA, have we touched on those?
No, we're just doing Most Improved with Prestone right now.
Yeah, Prestone always been. I'm surprised Most Improved just because always been solid. But yeah, congratulations, Prestone.
All right. Anything on that ladder? We move it over to AAA.
Yeah, I mean, of course, congrats to Prestone. Part of the reason I've selected you to win it all in the AA, but really impressive stuff. And you know, your bat's been pretty electric this season, so keep it up.
Congratulations to him in the AA, and we'll move on up to the AAA, where this player was part of a big group where it was one of the tighter awards this season. You know, pick them out of a hat and you probably come out with the right winner, but it's going to be the unicorn of the season, the elusive Spliff Star, and the Matrix Ball Club coming away with the most improved here in the AAA. He shot up the standings in the power rankings this season. He's a menace at the plate as well as on the mound. So he got 27 points in the league office vote and 25% of the community vote. Shamaronium followed him up. He actually got 33% of the community vote, winning that, but only got 19 points otherwise. And we've got Burning Ice in third place, and following him up, Rise and Fall, Black Coffee, and Elron Coin all got most improved votes. Big group here. Anything on this group we got missed?
Yeah, I think those top three is what it should be. I don't think any, Black Coffee, we knew what he was capable of. Already been a finalist in AAA twice, at least. But Spliff and Ice kind of, they kind of seem to move in tandem. But Shamaronium, wow. I don't think hardly anyone thought Sham was going to be the best of the AA call-ups, but at the end of the day, clearly was, and split with me, gave hell to a ton of players. So gotta hand it to our casting buddy Sham there, who could have been number one even, but you can't really take it away from Spliffy. I think the top three are, any one of those could have really gotten it, and it would have been legit.
Yeah, all three of those are definitely deserved to be in talks for earning the award, but I talked about it earlier during the unicorn segment. But again, lay out the red carpet for Spliff on the most improved. He really put the work in, especially this offseason. I know he and I collaborated on our rosters together, a lot of scrims, a lot of late night chats about the game itself. So just a fun, happy, cool guy to see a lot of success that he's just earned this season through hard work. So congrats.
Yeah, tons of hard work, tons of scrims, tons of dedication. With the house opening back up in the league, we've got another iteration of it, the third iteration of our house in the betting, and it's really taken hold this season. So shout out to Split for all the time he puts into this, both playing and on the side. Really big most improved shout out for him this season. We'll take it up now to the XBL. We're going to hand this award out to a player who this season, I think, as we've already stated, has taken the league by storm. If you haven't felt the wrath of his bat, meet him in a game or go ahead and scrim him. It's Spaceman Spumoni, who walks away with the huge most improved award tonight. Got a big portion of the league office vote and 60% of the community vote, 41 points in the league office. Following him up, though, getting a great shout out in this race was God's Unicorn, who almost had 20 wins and had an opportunity to do so if he only got to play his last two games. So as good as a 20-win season for God's Unicorn and 20% of the community vote, and in third place it's Ox, also getting 17 points and 20% of the vote. Mush and Dynasty getting some shout outs there as well. Although, how does Mush improve on being the runner-up? I'm not sure. But either way, great group. And shout out to Spaceman, who, really, scored the runs and, put in the work.
Yeah, I think because Spaceman had such a hot start, he kind of drew some separation. But I think when all was said and done, those top three, clearly separated themselves from the rest of the group and were almost a dead heat, in my opinion. I mean, Unicorn did really well this season. Had that monster, probably the biggest upset of the whole season against Astronauts, down huge. And then Ox was just such a grinder. It was ridiculous. To end up second place is just crazy. So, obviously Spaceman earned it, but, those other two, I think, kind of similar to AAA, there's not much separation there.
Yeah, Spaceman absolutely deserving, setting the pace early in the season. I don't recall exactly how many games it was, but he had some insane record that everyone just kept, keeping an eye on. They're like, oh, another series result. Let's check this. Yep, the sweep. Yep, the sweep. So it was just really kind of fun to see him pop off at the beginning and continue to show that it wasn't a fluke. I mean, he finished as a 3 seed this season, turned a lot of heads, and he's going to look to do that as the rest of the playoffs carry on. So it's also just worth mentioning he has a league-leading run scored per 9 at 9.26. So that's just insane from him.
I don't know. Did I score 9 runs this season? That's crazy. I mean, he's got it going on at the plate, going on the hill as well to carry himself to a really good standing. So shout out to Spaceman again, and shout out to all 3 of these players, Prestone and Spliffstar as well. All 3 of y'all very deserving of this award. And now we'll move on to the Rookies of the Year. These are the players who also made some big splashes this season in their respective leagues. And this is players who are new to the XBL overall entirely in any league, or new to the league that they are playing in, having not, played any league, in the, being a AA player to AAA or AAA to XBL. So without further ado, our first Rookie of the Year handout tonight in the AA goes out to one of our later additions, and a player who has already been mentioned for putting a ton of fire, a ton of passion into this league, and we really enjoy the presence and the play, and hand out this Rookie of the Year to the very deserving Jay Ank. Jay Ank has joined us here this season, again late in the off season, but ready to play, and he got a big shout out from the community with 72% of the vote, and big shout out from the league office as well with 28 points. Following him up was Simon, who had an amazing season as well, eclipsing the original settings for AA Ego. And then following him up, Evil Beach Towel, who with the Lumineers is making quite some noise in the round robin. So really, really great group of AA players, all 3 great rookies, but Jay, most deserving here tonight. And what can you say about his season? He had an amazing first campaign. You want to start this one out, Zalat?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, congrats to Enemigos. It was a lot of fun to check into his streams. I believe he's located in the Dominican Republic, right? So that's pretty awesome. We don't get many international folks to pop into the league and play, so that was super exciting. Happy to have him here. And he also impressed with a 6.99 runs scored per 9. So he's averaging basically 7 runs a game. That's going to be, boding well for anyone, especially at the AA level. So kudos and congrats to him in his rookie season.
Yeah, I think in a normal season, Simon would probably be the Rookie of the Year just based on how much he increased his ego. But I think he was somewhat punished by the fact that he played in Cup. He snuck into Cup there, and you could tell how good he was. He was going to be pretty solid at worst in AA, but I think the passion of J3 and just bringing so much energy to the league and doing really, really well as well really earned this award. And then Evil Beach Towel, kind of a late push, but really looking, Evil Beach Towel looking really good.
Yeah, good shout outs to this entire group. Like you said, the passion though from Jay, and just jumping in here, having a really successful season. I think really deserving of the award, and I think we want to see more of that. That's where things really start out, in the grassroots in the AA. So congratulations to everybody in that conversation there, and congratulations to our award winner. And we'll move up to now AAA, where this race, where we kind of almost went in tandem with it there in the most improved here, where our winner got quite a few votes for that as well, being a player who came up from the AA and really showed his stuff, really took 86 Ego by storm, and has been, a really great part of this community and a great force, not only on the field, but also in the booth. And it's going to be congratulations to our man, Shamaronium, for the Rookie of the Year in the AAA with 40 points in the league office vote, 69% of the community vote. Following him up was Silly Power Ranger, and then Julio Aces. Julio and Silly getting 14 points and 13 points respectively, and Pupper Dog also getting a shout out there in the vote as well. So really good group, but Shamaronium stands out head above shoulders above them all.
Yeah, congrats, Sham. Great season. We talked about it time and time again in the stream, just the success and the improvements that you've made coming up from the AA. It's been fun to see, so keep it up here in the playoffs. You never know. I mean, it would be a fun upset to see you get past Ed, so congrats on a great season.
Yeah, I think, Sham obviously is the winner here. Silly ran into some hardware issues late in the season, but was really turning it on. The kind of what we thought might be coming out early in the season. It was unfortunate to see Silly Power Ranger kind of fall down. But late in the season, when the hardware was working, was absolutely. I played him. It was really difficult. And then Jay Aces has the offense, which is the hardest thing to build upon. So now it's just going to be getting the pitching and getting the roster. But Jay Aces is a player that's really excited and passionate about the game. And I think next season is not going to be worse. Certainly won't be worse than, the middle of AAA.
Yeah, all of these players worked really hard this season to, I think, get their games up and step into the mix. And like you said, Julio's going to put that team together. Maybe not steal Lazy's roster next season. I think he'll do a lot better for himself. He'll build something of his own and create, a legacy of his own also to write in the XBL. But all of these players, including Shamronium, the winner here, very deserving of shouts out here. But Sham, like I said, head and shoulders above the group. He had an amazing season. We'll move on over now to the XBL Rookie of the Year, and this was a player where, I think at the beginning of the season you might have called this, but then things did jostle a little bit as the season wore on. Players were kind of in the mix as far as rookies go, all towards the middle bottom of the playoff tiers, and it really was going to be who stood out above them all, who probably walked away with this award. And without further ado, it is going to be AJ McHenry, the Cup winner, who gets the Rookie of the Year nod this season with 45 points in the league office vote and 83% of the community. Following him up in second place was Snowbird with 27 points and 17% of the vote. And then in third, it was Billy Banquo, who also put on a decent showing there towards the end of the season. And he was the third and only other XBL rookie. So all three rookies, I think, getting votes there. Congratulations to them. But AJ gets the award, and Snowbird coming in what you would consider probably a pretty close second after she really stormed onto the scene, especially late, and has now, made herself into the playoffs. I know she's already eliminated, but getting into the playoffs is no easy feat in this league.
Yeah, all great shout outs there. Even Billy Banquo had his moments this season as well, so kudos to the other two mentioned as nominees. But AJ, yeah, he really set the tone, winning the Cup, going into the season, putting people on alert. I saw that firsthand in the Cup, so I knew that he was capable of this kind of success, and here he is at the end of the season, winning Rookie of the Year. A great season from him, and he'll look to march on to his playoff run here against Pizza.
Yeah, AJ obviously deserved this. AJ had a good season, not probably what he had hoped for, to be quite frank. After winning the Cup, I think wanted to finish in the top half, but still was really solid at times, hit well. Pitching is still a work in progress. Snowbird did quite well, could have maybe done slightly better, but really was certainly not a disappointment. And other than game one, gave Spaceman a pretty good run there in the first round of the playoffs. So you like to see that. That's going to bode well to get that experience in the playoffs at that level next season. And then, Billy was in a tough situation. I think Billy was a little bit fortunate to get as far as he did in AAA last season, despite having clearly the second best bat. Is in the same position as Ty, where they need to learn to pitch, and it's not that easy. It takes a little bit of time. But Billy's someone who asks questions. I hope he's not, I hope he's not down on himself or the league or anything else, because Billy has a lot of talent.
Yeah, Mist is the talent, Sniffer the talent scout in this league, and if he says you've got the stuff, it's soup to nuts that you got it. So we'll have to see more out of old Billy next season. But congratulations again to AJ, who walks away with what you would consider a tight award, but got a lot of the vote there, as his, again, playoffs position more on and the season more on, and he really showed his stuff. The Cup winner gets some more hardware for his cabinet, maybe an XBL titles in his future. Who knows? You'd have to see more seasons to come. Like I want to see 20 plus seasons, so plenty of time, AJ. We're going to move on now to the Von Asen Award. The Von Asen Award is handed out each season to the best pitcher in each league, named after Ace Von Asen, the standard player in the Super Mega League. But yeah, all three players here tonight worked their butts off, I think, to earn this award this season. And I'm saying that in the truest of fashion. All three of these players, when you see who walks away with it tonight, you'll know worked for this. So we're going to start off in the AA, where this player here came to us last season in this AA group, which has been so tight so far over these past two seasons, and really fought amongst each other to see who's head and shoulders above the rest. And there's really nobody who you could still say is above that mix, but on the mound, I think it's starting to become clearer and clearer every day, as it is the man himself, Too Easy and the Falcons, who walk away with the Von Asen Award. 30% of the league office vote and 64% of the community handing it over here to our man Infinity, aka Too Easy. Bo Dangle's in second place with 18 points and 9% of the vote, followed up by Beach Towel, Black Sox, and Jay, all getting 6 points and 9% of the community. Prestone and Kawashi getting shoutouts as well, just showing how many players are in consideration in this AA grouping, but it's Infinity who gets the nod. So let's go for Mystery Man. What do you think of this AA handout here to our man, Too Easy? He's pitched his butt off.
Yeah, I think just based on his ability to bash his own offense, that kind of humility, and then you almost would think he's probably the best pitcher if he finished third, which he probably was. Bo, I think Bo's a great pitcher. I do think Bo could focus a little bit more on offense and could easily move up to AAA. And then I love seeing the Black Sox shouted out there at number 3, because the Black Sox actually are really good at pitching. The offense tends to come and go, but mostly go, unfortunately. And then J3's down there, held his own on the mound. So, but yeah, Too Easy. I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Falcons and the City Walk Knights are really, really neck and neck in so many of the categories that maybe just the very slightest edge went in the Falcons' favor. But clearly, many of us thought that the Falcons were deserving of this award, and it was a great season on the mound for them. They really definitely earned the award here. They have a very solid 1.181 whip and a .819 left on base. They lead the league in those categories, so very deserving. Well done to them.
Yeah, very deserving indeed. All these players really went at it this season. The AA is I just said in the chat, such a crew. I mean, it's a really big recruiting class we had last season, so nice to see a lot of them coming up together here. But it's Infinity who stands out as the Von Asen winner this season. Congratulations to him. Move on now to the AAA, where this was a hotly contested award, especially come the beginning of the season. Things have started to develop as the stats all shake out, but when it comes down to it, I think the two players who you thought were in the mix for this award are the two players who were really going at it. But this season overall, again, the stats speak for themselves, and it's once again Burning Ice and the Gex walking away with a AAA Von Asen Award above Spliff Star, who I think focused a bit too much on his bat to get that Most Improved Award this season, which is probably fine with him. But Burning Ice with 40 points from the league office and 77% of the community vote. That's the highest community vote getting in the Von Asen category overall across all three leagues. So congratulations to Burning Ice on a pretty consensus Von Asen here in the AAA. It was a big duel, especially at the beginning of the season, like I said. Split Star gets 18 points and 8% of the vote, and Eduardo follows them up in third with 12 points and 8% of the vote as well. Eduardo always hanging around there in the pitching conversation. Rise and Fall, Heisman, and Teflon Don Lemon get shout-outs in the Von Asen conversation as well. All very experienced pitchers. So really good group. What do we think of this one?
Yeah, I think it was pretty much a foregone conclusion from the beginning that it was going to be a Burning Ice versus Spliff Star. And Ice clearly earned that number 1 slot. Like you said, Spliffy focusing on some other things, still had a really nice season. I like to see Ed here because Ed was absolute murder. Rise and Fall was just, he really pitched so well and kept himself in so many games. You expect it from Heisman, but I was kind of surprised by the flower bombs because I thought Teflon was going to come down to the AAA and just rely on that bat. And that wasn't the case, as it usually isn't, but I really thought it was going to be this time, but it wasn't. So congratulations, Teflon, pitching really well.
Yeah, huge congrats to Burning Ice retaining his Von Asen trophy. I just wanted to mention statistically, he led the league in runs against, sitting only at 88. The only player to have double-digit runs against. Everyone else was 116 runs against or higher. He also, of course, led the league in runs against per 9, naturally, since the first stat I mentioned was so low, but it's just a 2.32, which is nearly an entire run better than the Matrix, who had a great pitching season and finished second in the award. It just shows you the level of pitching and the level of excellence on the mound. There's other categories, of course, that Gex led in, but just a really solid, dominant season of pitching for them.
Yeah, the dominance goes without saying. I mean, but we're going to talk all about it here tonight on the award show. That's where we do this kind of stuff. And Burning Ice did a really great job this season. As we know, he worked so hard, especially, being a console player. He's not a PC player like a lot of the group is. And, when you are on the console, sometimes you really are going that extra mile to make it all happen. And Ice is a really experienced pitcher, and that's what definitely he prides his game on. So congratulations to him. Move on now to the XBL Von Asen Award. This XBL Von Asen Award was a tight race as well for the 6 of the 8 weeks probably, and then over the last week and a half has really turned out here in favor of our winner. But this is a player who's been working towards this over time and has worked very hard as well. Diligent in his efforts, diligent in his just being a student of the game. As we know, it's the kid himself. It's the newest league office member, Mama Junjun, with the Von Asen Award. Mama worked so hard for it this season. He got 41 points on the league office vote and 67% of the community voting there. But he wasn't without being having to beat off Mush there with a stick. Mush 1525 getting 23 points in the league office vote and a massive anomaly, no percent of the community vote, which is something that I find hard to believe. Wishbone and Pizza Volcano both coming in third. They're tied for 6 points and 17% each, and Oxen God's Unicorn getting shoutouts in the award.
Yeah, I don't think I even had Mama in my top 3, even though Mama's probably the one that I probably would want to face the least. So I can't say I'm shocked to see him number 1. It just, the stats didn't really back that up, but I think the fear maybe did. Mush, of course, a great pitcher. Wishbone, of course, a great pitcher. I'm a little surprised to see Pizza up there. I think I need to dig into that. Ox has always been a great pitcher. And then, I've always serially bashed Unicorn's pitching. So to have him up here, challenging the big boys, got to give him a lot of credit there.
Well, I'll dive into the stats a little bit for everyone here because that's what I tend to do. But I'll share that I had Mama as my number 1 pick here. It was close against some others, especially Mush, who's always so solid on the mound and yet again is here just earning the runner-up slot for the award. But Mama led the league in run against per 9, only allowing 3.19 per game, only 103 total runs against on the season. And then some other categories leading the league in whip, in home runs allowed of only 15 on the season, leading in FIP as well. So a lot of categories to be leading in. I think the stats really edged this one out, in my opinion, to give it to the Civ, but there were some other great contenders that were mentioned, of course. Mush, Wishbone Pizza, Ox, and even God's Unicorn, who is probably the most improved pitcher, I want to say, for the season. It's just that's not a specific award we have. So kudos to all those guys, though, as well, and kudos to Mama for coming out on top to earn the Von Ace in this season.
Yeah, climbing over the top of the hill there comes Mama Jun and the Civilization. Big shout out to him. Big shout out to all 3 of our Von Ace winners. Again, this is one that I know all 3 of these players individually all worked hard for to actually get this season. So, you know, those efforts don't go unnoticed, and that's, you know, what makes this league fun is, you know, trying to be better at this silly little Super Mega Baseball game that we play. It ain't that silly when you're as good at it as we are. It's pretty badass if you ask me, so great job, guys. We'll move it over now to the people who disregard pitching and usually just win by sheer force. And these are our Long Ball Award winners. These are the best individual hitters in each league. Each season, this is voted on and named after the, you know, the title character of multiple Super Mega Baseballs, Hammer Long Ballo himself. So without further ado, we're going to go after our AA Long Ball Award winner, and this was a player who, as we've already mentioned in this show once tonight, or maybe twice, has shot up in ego this season to an unprecedented category, a category in which I actually personally, I'm not going to lie to you, even though I make some of the rules around here, I wasn't aware you could go higher than 87. But I think if the calculator says you can, I think Wishbone also says you can as well, and I'm going to go with him on that. So Simon and the Jailbirds absolutely potato mashed their way to a AA Long Ballo here tonight. The Jailbirds getting 30 points on the league office vote and a shared 18% of the community vote, followed up by Prestone, who was our most improved winner. He got 20 points and 18%, and Jay, our rookie of the year, who got 14 points and 18% of the vote. Sponge Hog, Beach Towel, Bo Dangles, and Kawashi all got shoutouts. Zlat, you want to take this one away?
Yeah, of course. Kudos. I don't know that we've talked about Simon enough, in my opinion, on this stream. I know we are limited on the amount of time we have, but yeah, just huge kudos to Simon and the offensive output they had this season. It was really impressive to watch. As you mentioned, at such a high ego, I will echo that. I did not know that the AA could go that high as well. So just really impressive, fun stuff. One of the few teams across all leagues to have a run scored per 9 over 9. It was 9.19 to end the season, scoring a total of 193 runs. Also had very impressive other various categories, but just hats off to Simon and the Jailbirds.
Yeah, you know, it's a great top 3. Obviously, they all deserve it. It's nice to see Sponge Hog on that list. Kind of like a young Misto, you know, he'll get going for a week there where you're not exactly sure what you've got, and then he'll go cold. But at the same time, nice to see him shattered out because that back can really get going. And then Evil Beach Towel, I already said it earlier, and really hit like gangbusters at times. But Simon really deserved that. You know, J3, Prestone, you know, these are consistent hitters, which you have to be in the top 3. So it seems like Wishbone's math kind of outweighed Dwayne's coolness as far as moving him all the way up above 86 to the 88 mark, which is kind of crazy when you consider XBL used to be at 90. So, you know, hats off to Simon, who well deserved.
Yeah, very well deserved. That is a really good point. That's why I was like, wow, you really just brought that up. That's, yeah, XBL did used to be 90. It was a lot closer to 86 than it was now. So Simon's really pushing, you know, some really talented territory. We'll see him, you know, on his way up the ladder, I think, here as the seasons wear on. 20 plus, folks. I've said it already twice this stream. We'll move on now to the AAA Long Ballo Award winner. This player this season in the AAA recognized for making a ton of, I think, of milestone marks as well as having a great season. This player came back to us after a small hiatus and has had a few shout outs here tonight. in the predictive category, but no hardware handed to them. And that's going to be Black Coffee here walking away with the AAA long ball of Black Coffee, the #1 home run hitter in AAA's history thus far. And this season had a really great one. He got 40 points in the league office vote and 77% of the community vote. Following him up was Elron Coin, who's a player, as we all know, can really mash the crap out of the ball. He got 18 points in the league office vote and 15% of the community vote. Teflon Don Lemon, who came down from the XBL and wreaked havoc, winning a ton of games, but I think his batting and his pitching really were in both ways. The pitching was really astute, and the batting kind of wasn't as fierce as you may have expected. He walks away with 12 points and 8% of the community vote. And Mystery Man gets a shout out in the long ball. Miss, what do you think of that?
I love it. I do want to mention here, I'll jump in front of his lap for this one. People don't realize the confidence of Black Coffee. That's the reason why you're seeing a difference here. Black Coffee goes into every game fully expecting to win and to dominate. And if you don't come with that kind of confidence, it's almost impossible. And we saw a lot of people, even the really good players, just get completely annihilated. Even though I think a lot of them could play with him, but he comes in really ready to go. And then I'm really shocked to see Elron doing this well. I knew Elron was a good hitter in the old days. I didn't see a lot from him in the last couple seasons. He might not have even played a couple of them, but he played last season, did okay. He did so well this season. Good to see Coin back, hitting the long ball. The Teflon Don, impossible to pitch to. Always having fun. I think if he focused more, he could do even better, but we would much rather have the fun from Teflon Don Lemon. And then myself, I did hit some dingers. It was a little bit of an off season, but the long ball didn't totally go away.
Yeah, impressive stats and impressive stuff and an impressive crew here. The top 3 for the awards as well as missed, like you just finished talking about. I'm going to focus a little more just on the award winner and Coffee, who put up 375 runs on the season. That was best. Second best would be from Elron, of course, at 290. So approaching a 100 run difference there for runs scored. I mean, that's just another tier higher, in my opinion, to see that kind of offensive output. Both of those guys just absolutely mashed the ball, and they tied in home runs at 84 on the season. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, other categories, Coffee led the league in OBP, BABIP, some really solid hitting categories, and I think this is just really indicative of the type of success he hopes to have and carry through the playoffs as well.
Yeah, we'll see how those playoffs go. We know it's a huge gauntlet in that AAA, but Coffee stands out here after having an amazing regular season. As it was stated, 84 home runs, 375 runs scored. Just insane numbers there. Well deserving of the long ball award. That's what it's all about. Putting that ball over the fence. Hit a lot of home runs if you want the long ball award. It's a great strategy. I wish I knew how to undertake that. We're going to go ahead now and hand out the XBL long ball award this season. It was a race that could have been anybody's, especially come the start of it, much like the title races we discussed in the bracket portion of this show. But this season, I think, again, if you had played against this player, it's the sheer contact of the bat, the exit velo of the ball moving off the bat. It's everything that he does at the plate that, make things go right. And it's that late game energy as well that really adds to those big home run and run totals that allowed him to walk away with this award here tonight. So without further ado, it's our double up here. Spaceman Spumoni walking away with the most improved and long ballo awards here tonight on the XBL Season 18 award show. Shout out to Spaceman Spumoni and the Spokane spokesman. I'm sorry, I tripped over that one for a second, but the Spokane spokesman walk away with a huge long ballo award, well deserved. Again, if you played him, you felt the strength of his bat this season, and it was unrivaled.
Yeah, absolutely. Spaceman is just like so impressive still to kind of sit back and think about the moments we got to see from his streams and some of the games and the score lines. Elite company there at the top with alongside Pizza and Wish, as well as Flash and Mama earning some nods, but you know, just a very, very well-deserved award here for Spaceman and the Spokesman. Put up a lot of leading categories and also just really neck and neck in some of the ones that they weren't necessarily leading in, but congrats to Spaceman.
Yeah, obviously Spaceman had a great season. It's kind of interesting because I was the first one who started, you know, at least as far as, you know, league office types, casting types, to kind of start ranking him number one. And it was because of the bat, and the bat has held up. I'm not sure in the playoffs that it will hold up quite as well. Only because you're facing only the top pitchers, and he doesn't have the same experience as some of these other folks. So, I wouldn't put a championship past him, but it's going to be a lot harder, I think, for the Spaceman to keep this going. Pizza's always been a great hitter. A former runner-up in the XBL. Wishbone has always been thought of more as a pitcher, always a solid hitter, not a bad hitter, but a solid hitter. Has kind of used to just kind of sit fastball, but now really hard to deal with. And then, Flash and Mama Juju just dripping with talent. Maybe it quite hit to their capabilities. Mama always a bit streaky. Flash kind of the same. But it's a really good group, and you can't say Spaceman didn't earn it.
Can't say he didn't indeed. He pushed himself above a really tight group, and I think if it wasn't mentioned already, Pizza Volcano got 60% of that community vote, actually winning the community vote there. But Spaceman's 42 points of league office vote versus Pizza's 34, and Spaceman's 20% of the community also contributing there. It's a really interesting, the voting process. If you didn't read about it in the Discord, it's the up 20% or more of the community is contributing to the overall vote getting and the point getting for the winners of these awards. So that all is again detailed in the Discord, but Wishbone Rules got 14 points and 20% of the vote, and Mama Junjun and Flash got shoutouts as well. I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. And all of our players here who got awards and shoutouts, this is what we do it for. This is what we all gather here on this final award show for, to go over what amazing seasons you all had and to really look at this thing as a whole before the playoffs really kick off. So again, the participation is what makes this entire thing, and I thank each and every one of you. Congratulate you all for walking away with some really, really cool awards. So now we're going to move on to the next portion of the show. The awards are wrapped up. Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, Von Asen, and Longbolo have all been handed out. And we're going to move on now to what I would consider the most illustrious and most prestigious honor one can receive in the XBL. And that is joining the XBL Hall of Fame. And if you do not know, the requirements of doing so are playing at least 3 seasons, or maybe it's 5, but the lowest player has 3 seasons. That would be Axel Grease, 15. If you haven't heard of him, you can ask an OG. Or playing 10 seasons overall. 10 seasons get you in. And obviously the exceptional play, titles, awards, things of that nature. And you can join the Hall of Fame playing in any league, the AA, the AAA, or the XBL, all seasons combined in this particular instance. So, and this is my particular favorite part of each and every season where we get to do this, because we don't get to do this every single season. So the XBL Hall of Fame gained some new members tonight. There's already 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 there's 18 members now, and there will be 21 members here when we walk away tonight. So 3 people are joining us here in the XBL Hall of Fame. Something that's significant about this class is combined, these 3 players all have 1 XBL season. The rest of them are all AA and AAA combined. So think about that for a minute if you haven't already done the math. I want to shout out each and every one of these 3 players for putting in the work, being huge parts of this community. If you don't know how these guys make this thing tick, then You know, I don't know what else to say because they've played so many scrims, so many seasons, so many games. They've put the AA and the AAA on their backs, carried it to the finish line themselves, in many ways that, you know, one could consider. And I could say so many more good things. So I'm going to go ahead and just hand out these Hall of Fames, and going to reveal the plaque now, which has our new 3th Hall of Fame members, Rise and Fall 83, D-Sil 1.0 through 3.0, and this is Eduardo, all achieving 10 seasons of XBL service across the AA, AAA, and the XBL. Eduardo being the one XBL season there. But shout out to all 3 of these players. I've played each and every one of them many, many times, and I can say they're some of the best guys you could ever play a video game against, or you could probably ever meet. So very proud of you, very happy for you, and you've all done a great job making this community tick. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll go. It's kind of interesting because these are 3 players that I was aspiring to be when I came into the league. My first season in AA, D-Sil won it. Eddie was already in AAA. Rise was already in AAA. And oh man, these are such good folks. You can't do better than this. And they're all AAA, which of course has always been my bag of tricks. And you know, it's kind of surprising Eddie almost isn't already in the Hall. Eddie is just such a staple. But Rise, just such a good guy, and D-Sil, so consistent with his energy. You know, everybody loves his hikers and bikers and all of his monkey shines he throws into the general. But he's a fun guy, and love to see all 3 of these players get in there.
Yeah, I echo every single word you shared there, and you know, it's just so awesome to see additional members being added to the illustrious Hall of Fame there with the goldification on the logos. I love it. You know, briefly for each of these guys, I remember D-Sil, like I mentioned it earlier, he never gives up. He always finds himself like back against the wall, and then he finds a way to just overcome it many times. So I was always impressed by how he's able to play. And a quick shout out to most of his seasons and career were played on a handheld Nintendo Switch. That is just like mind-blowing that he's not on a PC or a normal console, right? Like, I think this season he switched over finally, but most of it was on a Switch. That is just crazy. You know, Rise, always a respectable dog of an opponent to play against. I think he beat me in the Cup a couple times. I have some fond memories of close, fun games with him. And then, of course, there's Eddie, always in the general chat, always near the top of AAA standings, still searching for that title. This could be the season where he wins it all. Who knows? But yeah, just really happy and, you know, glad to have a wholesome moment here and add these guys in here to our Hall of Fame.
Yeah, like I said, my favorite part, and well said by both of you guys to really put a cap on it. I mean, all 3 of these players are so deserving. Just seeing their logos in gold, it's awesome. You know, Eduardo being what I would have considered at the time the Moby Dick, the white whale of PR players, where I felt like we had every single XBL player that we could get except Ed, and we finally got him in there. That was in like season 9, right? That was like 10 seasons ago. So we've come such a long way since then. He's got 3,500 career AAA hits. I mean, for crying out loud. And all these players got shout outs in the milestones set tonight for having, I believe, over 100 or 1,000 of something. So again, they're just great players, great guys to be around, and being on this plaque is one of the coolest and most fun things about this league. So really appreciate everybody's hard work that contributes to this. We'll walk away here tonight with 3 more Hall of Famers. And to cap off this awesome little award show that we always put on for you every season, we've got our plays of the year. These were sorted out across the season, across the roundups and kept track of. And the Mystery Man put them together here for us tonight to run through. So we're just going to go run through them in no particular order except the first one, which is the nightcap. And we'll go ahead and start things off. So this one is called Air Velma from the match of the week between the Flower Bombs and the Mist. Man, this was an early one. And I think, if I recall correctly, Mr. Man, she gets some air here. Let's see it play out.
2-0. In there for a strike. Definitely not fishing for that one. Here comes the cutter. Dinkley makes the diving
There it
grab,
is.
the throw to first in time.
Unreal.
A nice 4-3 double play in a 2-2 ball game. What do you think of that, sir?
2-0. In there for a strike.
You
You're
muted.
muted, miss.
Definitely not fishing for that one. Here comes the cutter. Dinkley
Yeah,
makes the
that
diving
early
grab,
split
the
against the
throw to
Flower
first in
Bombs gave me a
time.
lot of confidence. So that was a monster play there, and I won that game.
2-0.
Yeah, huge early on a match of the week to win a game like that, like you said, against the Flower Bombs, one of the toughest players to play against in this AAA season. Watch it one more time, and we'll move on now to a play from Jay Ank and Team Enemigos. This one here, I think a lot of us can remember too from an early roundup where Jay absolutely showed that passion we talked about earlier in the show on that Rookie of the Year announcement. There he goes, diving into left center. Gets 2 outs. Doesn't quite get the double play. But man, is he fired up.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. This encapsulates the entire AA season.
¡Uf! ¡Qué jugada! ¡Cállese!
Super cool play there. What do you think, Slot?
Yeah, I love the passion. We saw a lot of great dives out in center field, and this is definitely deserving to be one of them here.
¡Uf!
Yeah, Jay did a great
¡Qué
job.
jugada!
And thank you to him for streaming a little bit something different too on the old YouTube. It's not something we're used to. We're all on Twitch all the time. We'll move on now to our next play here. This is a play between the Matrix and the Massholes. This is at the old Lafayette, and you can see the bases are juiced. It's a 6-5 game. It's the bottom of the 6th, and both these players, you know, we got a Rookie of the Year and a Most Improved facing off here, so you can predict one of two things is about to happen. Let's see it play out. 1-0 pitch. Absolute hanger. Split robs it on the run.
Yeah, you know, when you're a rookie like Shamaronium, this is not what you want to see from a top player that you look like you have a chance to beat. But, you know, it was that kind of a year for Spliffy.
Yeah, Spliff was fortunate to catch it on a side jump, essentially, a full sprint. And if you notice the box score there, Sham had put up 5 runs that inning already. So, I mean, like we mentioned earlier, he's just lightning in a bottle.
Oh yeah, that is a really good point. I hadn't noticed that my first 2 run-throughs of this play. But yeah, scoring 5 already in that inning, that could have been a 9-run spot, but Spliff absolutely clutched it out there. Huge play, well deserving of a play of the year. We move on now to what we would consider a pairing of plays. This is the big time players portion. This is submitted by Kawashi. In a tight game in the AA between Bo Dangles and the Icebirds. We see Kawashi in the field in right center. Have to absolutely lay out for one. Look at that. Runners on, 9th inning, bottom of the 9th inning, in fact, made the play.
Yeah, and we'll see more here, but the incredible play from Ken Mochi out there in the field, just wow.
Ken Mochi making a huge effort there. This is the real cap off. As we see Ken Mochi crush it to left, get the homer, and put the team ahead by 2. Slot, what do you think of that one?
Yeah, just 2 epic plays combined here for the spot. It's awesome to see. They were full extension in the field and full extension at the plate there, going the full distance. What an epic moment there for the Iceberg.
Man, I haven't squared one up like that in a long time. Let's just, real quick, let me just, where's the contact? It's so good. Wow. You love to see that. That's that type of swing that carries the ball a long way. Beautiful job by Kawashi there. Shout out for getting the clips. And we'll move on to our next play of the season. Make sure this one's paused up, and we'll go ahead. And this is the Flower Bombs and the Bluegrass Banjos in a game that had a few runs scored. It looks like it was 18-13 in the top of the 9th.
split.
Flower
Please
bomb's
don't
on the
dive.
march here.
Oh
Off
my
the
God, he
hands.
Oh
fucking
no!
Ruined
my
the
God.
opportunity, ended the game. What a play by Coffee. That's a clutch one in a game where this player, Teflon, could easily have scored 5.
Oh, split. Please don't dive. Oh my God, he fucking
Anything on it, miss?
dived.
I mean, yeah, I think Teflon says it better than I ever could.
Yeah,
that's
for real.
pretty much what it was.
Yeah, I love that he says, please don't dive, as the player dives to dash his hopes and just kill his dreams. Oh, it's epic.
And to cap things off, folks, we've got our play of the season in this one. If you were around for some earlier roundups, you may have been able to predict it, you may not. But this is the 10-10 game in the 10th, where Uni made what many would consider, and I think you could call it, the comeback. So without further ado, folks. It's on! Let's go! Let's go! The call of the season from our man God's Unicorn. What a clutch homer. I mean, this play, we only ever so often see comebacks of 8, 9, 10 runs. And when they happen, there's usually a moment like this that goes down in history. One of those was in the trailer, and another one here tonight is play of the year.
Definitely the signature moment of season 18. God's Unicorn put in so much work for this league, with all his broadcasting and playing and streaming and goofing around. And then this comeback was like 8 or 9 runs in the final inning or some crazy scenario. This was just the final blow.
Yeah, I believe he was down like 9 or 10 or something. It was insane. So, an epic game. I was there to watch it live. I love the passion. Sad that he's not able to join us here this evening to recap some of the moments, but just an awesome moment. And yeah, thanks, of course, to God's Unicorn for everything he does here in the league.
Yeah, shout out to Uni, the man who carries the booth, and he's done a great job this season, making it happen and making all of these casts tick, and his play hasn't suffered in any way from it. He was able to put on one of the best comebacks that any of us can remember. So shout out to him and congratulations for a big play of the year. And thank you again for all the work you put in. And thank you to everybody for putting in all the time and the passion. It's been a really great season, watching all the games play out, watching all the leagues play out. It's been amazing to take it through an 18th go round. But yeah, I'll pass it over to my castmates before we walk out of here for any parting words. First, let's pop over to Zlot. What do you think?
Just a brief moment to mention a play that wasn't necessarily featured this evening, but I was there to cast it in the match of the week there with Spliff and Rix. Rix actually had 2 plays in that game of some epic center field diving catches, so that was a tight affair, and those catches really meant everything. But overall, just, thanks for having me, of course. Thanks for everyone just putting the time and effort and love and energy into the community. It's so cool to see across all leagues. So, I mean, I'm at a loss for words, really, but just thank you to everybody.
Mister?
Yeah, it was a great season, and I think, a shout out to the players. We didn't have a lot of drops this season. We saw some people that did struggle to get in some games, really come in there and do their best to try to get it finished up, which really did help. I don't think a lot of players, especially if they're new, kind of realize how important it is to get your games in, just because, other players are affected. It's not that, oh, I'm willing to take the loss. It really does affect things. But we had a great season. We had a lot of highlight plays. And the main thing is it's just getting started. The playoffs are just getting started. And we've already seen some exciting finishes with myself and Teflon. And there's going to be a lot more.
Yeah, there's a ton more to come as the playoffs continue to play out here in the XBL, the AA, the AAA, tons of big time moments, tons of big time games. The biggest players and best players in the XBL are all playing, so you're gonna want to watch it. And thank you again for being those people and making it happen. Again, we play this game that not so many people play besides us, but that's cool. We really make this thing happen, and it's a pleasure every single time to get to put this on for y'all. And I hope once again we get to do it in season 19 and beyond into season 20. So without further ado, folks, have a great evening, and I'm gonna let Uni take it away one last time. Let me just reopen the tab. Everybody have a great evening. We'll see you next time, and be safe.
Let's go! Let's go!